Everyone, this is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. So I had to cover this. You guys know I had to cover this, and it's in reference to Stephen A. Smith. I know you all know about it. I know you've all seen the video of LeBron James walking up on him during a game and said some really mean-spirited things to Stephen A. Smith. We're going to get into that, but here's the deal. What I want to talk about in this video is the fact that after this incident occurred with Stephen A. Smith, where LeBron walks up on him and gets on him about criticizing his son, Stephen A. Smith, in his commentary, seems to be very apologetic. It's like almost like he's cowering down to LeBron. He's like, well, you know, he's acting like a father. He's responding like a father. And I heard the video. I saw the video of LeBron walking up on Stephen A. Smith, and I watched his commentary in response to that. And it appeared that he was backing down, right? We all know that. I know you guys all know that. Now, apparently, he has decided to take on a different tone now. After some other incidents have occurred, now he's deciding to take on a different tone. And he's basically saying what LeBron did was BS, which is interesting because I'm wondering, why didn't he say that during the first commentary response, okay, that he gave? Why didn't he say that before? That's what I want to talk about here. I want to give my opinion about Stephen A. Smith's response and my opinion about LeBron James' response. But let's get right into this article, and then we're going to talk about this. And yes, I do cover some things that don't have to do with politics. I do cover pop culture phenomena. I've said that in my bio, so I do cover these type of things because, quiet as it may be kept, a lot of this stuff is political. I'm hearing that Stephen A. Smith wants to become president, or he's thinking about getting into politics. He clearly has a lot to say about politics, right? And some are rumoring that he wants to get into politics. So there's some connection here, okay? There's some connection one way or the other. But let's get right into this. Stephen A. Smith has dropped his tone following his confrontation with LeBron James and is now calling the NBA superstar's behavior, quote, weak and, quote, BS. James confronted Smith last Thursday during the third quarter of the Lakers-Knicks game in a tense exchange that seemed to be centered on Smith's comments about James' son, Bronny. And by the way, I'm gonna get more into that in my own commentary. But I myself have a son, a 20-year-old son who wants to be in the NBA. So I get it. I get it on both sides. But we're gonna get into that. Yeah. So the article goes on his ESPN show, First Take, Smith sounded different about the encounter the following day. Quote, that wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent, and that was a father. Now, I heard him say this. You guys, I'm pretty sure you heard him say this, but I'm going to read it. You read the transcript. I can't sit here and be angry or feel slighted by LeBron James in that regard, which is interesting because I'm about to read to you what apparently LeBron James said to him during this what I would say invasion of Stephen A. Smith's space. Yeah. By all accounts, Stephen A. says, he's obviously a wonderful family man and father who cares very, very deeply about his son. And based on some of the comments he had heard, or shall I say, I think he thought he heard, clearly took exception to some of the things he heard me say, and he confronted me about it. Come on, Stephen A., man. Okay. But anyway. However, after another video emerged of James talking with former NBA player and ESPN analyst Richard Jefferson about the incident, Smith's tone changed. Really? Quote, I thought it was weak. I thought it was some BS. But in that moment, I knew that I was listening to a father, Smith said Tuesday on Gil's Arena podcast. Is that what you felt, Stephen A? Is that what you felt, or were you fearful? Okay. Were you fearful, man? Look, Smith said of James, Quote, he said, yo, I'm reading the transcript. Apparently during this podcast interview, this is what Stephen A. Smith said James he said to him, LeBron James said to him, he said, yo, you got to stop talking S about my son. You got to stop effing with my son. That's my son. That's my son, end quote. Now, let's make a quick comment about that. Look, I'm just going to take I'm just going to personalize this. I've seen that video quite a few times. The way LeBron approached him, I got nervous for Stephen A. Smith. I really did. I got nervous because I thought he was going to do a Will Smith thing to him. And I'm going to talk about that later. But I thought he was going to do a Will Smith thing to him. I'm like, the way he looked, I'm like, wow, that was really, really kind of rough, bro. And I couldn't hear anything that LeBron James was saying to Stephen A. Smith. But evidently, according to what I'm reading here and according to this transcript here that Stephen A. Smith said that LeBron James said, obviously this is what he said. LeBron James apparently said, yo, you got to stop talking F's about my son. You got to stop effing with my son. That's my son. That's my son. And my question is, was he talking S about your son? Or was he doing what a sports analyst is supposed to do? Analyze sports and analyze game plays and so forth on the court. I mean, isn't that what they're supposed to do? Anyway, the article goes on. In his comments on First Take, Smith said the initial confrontation with James centered on what the NBA star thought Smith had said about his son. However, after watching James' interaction with Jefferson, Smith realized that James' beef was with Smith's critical comments about his push for the Lakers to draft his son Bronny, even though Bronny, in Smith's view, was not ready for the NBA. I'm hearing a lot of people are saying that. And look, I don't watch basketball. I don't watch it. I really don't watch it that much. I watch bits and pieces of it. It's not my kind of sport. But I know a little bit of something about it. And if the person is not ready, they're not ready. It's clear. You don't have to be somebody that watch sports to know that Brody, his son, is obviously in the Lakers with him because of his father. Stop, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. But anyway, that's another story. Now, I digress. Let's go on. Quote, I thought that he misrepresented the argument. I was glad he did, Smith continued, because what he was really talking about, which was confirmed with this conversation with Richard Jefferson, is that I was talking about him as a father. Had he said that to me, I wouldn't have been thrown off. I would have came right back at him. Yes, I was talking about you. You did this S. Bronny had a brief, undistinguished stint at USC before being drafted by the Lakers in the second round. Since being in the NBA, the Bronny has spent most of his time in the G League and only appeared in 18 games with the Laker. End of article, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I know you guys already know about that, but I wanted to give my little unimportant commentary on the situation myself. I think it's highly entertaining. It's just something to talk about. First things first about LeBron James, in my opinion. Okay, yes, I agree. He responded as a father would respond to Stephen A. Smith's comments about his son as he watched that interview when Stephen A. Smith was as he watched that commentary as Stephen A. Smith was basically not putting down his son, but critiquing his son and just simply saying, look, his son is not ready. He's had 0 points here, 0 points there. He's not ready. And LeBron, being a father, I understand that part. He took it personally. So I get that part. As a father of a son who wants to be in the NBA and he plays basketball and loves the game, if someone did, I would have probably felt that way as well. But what I would not have done, regardless of my position, whether I was a basketball player or truck driver or security officer, whatever, I would not have approached Stephen A. Smith or any kind of sports analyst on the court and, what's up, man? You're doing it. I would not have done that. I would have being a father, I said, man, what's the deal, man? I don't understand. I wouldn't have did it out in the court like that with all these cameras showing. I know LeBron James knows cameras was looking at him. I don't think at all that LeBron James was thinking, oh, the cameras are hiding somewhere. The camera people are hiding somewhere, so I ain't got to worry about nothing. Okay? So here's my take on LeBron James' response. It was very distasteful. And he ought not have responded that way with Stephen A. Smith. If he heard Stephen A. Smith's commentary, whether he took it as you saying, and whether he interpreted Stephen A. Smith's commentary about his son as him being a bad father, is null and void. Or not being a good father is null and void. That's null and void in my opinion. To approach this little bitty man, and LeBron, you weigh what, 800 pounds, and Stephen A. Smith weighs 10? I mean, come on, man. I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. This looked like to me a Will Smith and Chris, I forget his last name. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I keep thinking Chris Tucker, Yeah. That's what that looked like. And I can't help but wonder if Stephen A. Smith was any bigger, would LeBron James have done that? If that had been one of the other sports analysts, like Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley made some negative comments in critiquing Bronny, James' son, would James have done that? I would say no, he wouldn't have. What that suggests to me about James, is that he is a bully. That's what that suggests to me. Everybody's pooting and snotting and hollering and hooping and booping about Trump being a bully when Trump is not a bully. Trump just stands on what he believes in. But here you have a real bully, in my opinion, who's walking up on someone who's much smaller than him, not as physically strong as he is. And let's look at and compare. Let's compare Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Put them side by side, not just their size but their appearance. Look at Stephen A. Smith. He looks like a weasel. I mean, Stephen A. Smith has no stability. He's back and forth, up and down. He says one thing, and then the next he says something else. I mean, when is he going to make up his mind as a man? Unless he's getting paid to be like this, I don't know. Okay. And then you look at LeBron. LeBron don't even have to say anything, and he looks threatening. Okay, the guy's huge. So, to me, I look at this as a bullying move on the part of LeBron James. But it don't seem to matter to a lot of people because a lot of people, they're still going to be rah, 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 rah for LeBron James, especially black people. Yes, I'm picking on black people. Yep, I'm mentioning them. I guarantee you, if people start coming out and really criticizing LeBron James for him approaching Stephen A. Smith like he did and basically cussing at him about his son like he did, which was unreasonable, in my opinion. I guarantee you, black people, here you go, putting down another black man. It angers me how we as black people get so upset when other black people criticize dumb things that we do. Crazy. But anyway, I wanted to add that to it because I'm pretty sure that's what's going to end up happening. But I'm not the one. If somebody black is doing something stupid, I'm going to criticize it. It needs to stop. It looks bad. We already have a bad image in the society as already. Just about everybody thinks we're nothing but a bunch of people that like to twerk and rob and steal and be ignorant. That's how they see us because that's how a lot of us want to act anyway. So it's like, I don't want to be around. And that's bad. That's bad. I don't want that perception about me because I'm nowhere even remotely about that nonsense. That's why I don't hang around people. But anyway, I'm going off a tantrum here. But you get my point. I'm pretty sure they're going to start speaking about it and say, oh, look, here's the deal. In my opinion, LeBron James' approach, even as he approached as a father, was distasteful at the very least. And now, After Stephen A. Smith sees him on that podcast, and so Stephen A. Smith had a podcast, now he's changing his tone. Now it was BS. I know it was BS. You know. Then again, too, I'm pretty sure that when LeBron James walked up on him like that, and he started saying those type of things, then you need to stop saying this about my son. But I'm wondering, did Stephen A. Smith say anything in response? Hey man, my bad. I'm sorry. I was just doing my job. I'm wondering what he actually said in response, because it looks like to me he just stood there, shocked, and LeBron James walking up on him. You know. He probably felt, and I'm just using my own imagination, he probably felt like LeBron was going to, because like I said earlier, it looked like the way the expression on LeBron's face, his shoulders, and the way it looked threatening. And how dare LeBron allow his emotions to get to the point where he's 800 feet tall. I'm sorry, not 800 feet, 900 feet tall, 9,000 pounds, and Stephen A. Smith is 2 inches tall and 1/800th of an ounce in weight. I mean, come on, man. Come on, bro. That's a bully move. And with that being said, I can't help but wonder how many times off camera, off the record, that LeBron has bullied other people. Because if he's like that on court with someone that criticizes his family or whatever, and rightfully, there's a rightful criticism, okay, his family members, I can't help but wonder who else he done that with. People have elevated LeBron to the point where he's a god. And look, like I said, I don't watch basketball, and I told you guys that. But apparently, according to people that love basketball, up and they love it, they know all the basketball players and all the rest, apparently he's one of the best in all of basketball sports history. Of course, there's always a comparison with MJ. Some people have said, well, he's better than Michael Jordan because he got more points. He averaged, I was reading one stat said 50,000 points, whatever, something like that along the line. And one person made the comment, well, yeah, that's because he's been playing for 3,000 years. In other words, he's been playing longer than Michael Jordan has been playing. So, of course, he's going to have more points. But whatever is whatever, whatever is whatever. So, clearly, he's one of the greats. According to sports analysts and according to the fans, LeBron James is clearly one of the greats in basketball history, period. Okay. And I've seen him play. I mean, he played for the Cleveland Cavaliers here and won us. So I've seen him playing, So, yeah, he's one of the great, okay? But in terms of his character in certain areas, I disagree with that. Now, I'm not saying Michael Jordan's character is the greatest because I don't know much about what he did. It was bad. I don't know, I don't. But all I know is what LeBron is doing when the camera is on him, what he's saying when the camera is on him. And what I'm saying is that his approach was very distasteful at the very least. And I'm being nice about it. I'm being nice about what I'm saying here, okay? Now, my friend, if you're watching this, I'm not criticizing LeBron as a person. I never ate dinner with him. I didn't go to the theme park with him. I don't live with him, so I don't know his character in terms of consistency. So I'm not judging his character. But what I am doing is critiquing his actions on the court when he approached Stephen A. Smith about something that Stephen A. Smith is paid to do. That was distasteful in my opinion. It was wrong, and LeBron James needs to reconsider what he did. He needs to apologize, and he needs to get a check on his temper. Because if my son, who wants to be a basketball player, okay, look, I love my son, but I'm not going to cover up for him when I don't need to cover up for him. He knows that, and I've told him about that. He knows that. If he's doing something that's not where he needs to be, I'm going to tell him. I might not tell him on the court, but I'll tell him inside, son, you need to brush up on this, you need to brush up on that, this, that, and the other. Okay? But to do what he did was totally distasteful. Period. Bottom line, in my opinion. All this understanding him as a father and all that, I get that. But he did not have to do that, in my opinion. He could have kept that in check and talked to Stephen A. Smith off the court. He could have waited. What was that all about? In my opinion, it was a bully move. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, that's my take on it. So you got my unimportant opinion on his situation with LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. And now Stephen A. Smith coming back and changing his tone and saying, well, it was BS. It was BS. Well, I feel like, he should have said that at the beginning. But at the same time, it's like he probably was terrified to say anything if he said anything when LeBron walked up on him. But anyway, that's my take on it. What do you guys think about what Stephen A. Smith's changing on this, about his tone about this whole situation? What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.